Herzlich willkommen zu einer besonders gezuckerten Ausgabe von Fast Forward am heutigen Mittwoch. Und heute haben wir einen großartigen Gast in der Show, nämlich Tom Jones. Nein, nämlich den Bruder von dem hier. Von diesem Oberproll Nummer 1 auf der ganzen Welt, Bouncer, Verprügler und alles. Also nicht den, sondern den. Und Noel Gallagher hat heute in diesem Interview, vermute ich jetzt mal, weil weiß ich ja noch nicht, ne? Ich mache das ja jetzt gleich. Er hat extrem gute Laune und wird uns unter anderem erzählen, dass Liam blöd ist und seine Freundin am Wochenende immer in die Irrenanstalt geht. Viel Spaß. Ah, und noch was, die Jessie, die jetzt gerade dafür, ne, ist auch ein großer Gallaghers-Fan. Und wir waren alle so aufgeregt, als da reinkam der Noel. Dann hat die Jessica so gesagt, hello, my name is Jessica. Und war so aufgeregt und hat dann nicht mehr zugehört. Und dann hat der Noel gesagt, very nice name. Hat ihn nicht mitgekriegt. Viel Spaß. Sie sehen Fast Forward mit Noel Gallagher heute. The last album sounded very produced to me, and this time it sounds like a real band album. Did you sort of try a different approach this time?
Well, the main difference is the clues are in the words that you just said. We didn't have a producer this time. You know, last time we had a Spike Stent was in charge of the mixing desk. And I think Standing on the Shoulder of Giants needed to be produced because the songs were quite long and they were quite... There's a lot of keyboards on there, and we felt like we needed a little bit of a change from Be Here Now. But this time, coming back, and Standing on the Shoulder of Giants was quite a psychedelic record, so we're not really that technical in the studio, you know, we like to play guitars and that's about it, really. Yeah. But for this record, we decided that this was going to be our debut album, so, you know, bands usually do it themselves when it's their debut album because they can't afford a producer, so, yeah. You know, we looked at it that way, or I looked at it that way anyway, and I think after 8 or 9 years, it was about time that we'd done something specifically for ourselves, which is why it's very guitar heavy, and there's not a lot of studio effects on there. It's just us playing in a room live, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what it sounds like a real live.
Well, it sounds... People are drawing comparisons to the sound of Definitely Maybe and the sound of this record. The reason that they sound so similar is because with Definitely Maybe and this record, we didn't have any producers, you know. Yeah. We just had ourselves and a friend, so...
Can you somehow tell, have you got favourites already on the album?
On
the new album?
In Chemistry. It's a cliche to say that I like them all, but I do, you know.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite out of the lot, for me, it varies. It varies. One day it can be one, and one day it can be another, but today probably... I've just heard Hindu Times in the office over, let's say, Hindu Times today.
Okay, good. I just had the honour to hear 3 songs from the album, including the new single, and they all seem to be absolute straight rock and roll, right, hit in the face. Is that what we can expect from the album?
Yeah. There's a couple of slow songs on there. The next single, called Stop Crying Your Heart Out, is quite... There's lots of strings on it, and it's quite a big... It's quite a big number. Yeah. But the rest, old soul rock and roll.
Super.
Yeah, and there's 2, I think there's 2 acoustic songs on the album. Yeah. They're fantastic as well, so, yeah, it's, you know, it's quite good.
Okay, and it's sort of quite a good time for releasing a record, I think, because there are amazingly lots of good bands coming from all over the world, like Black Rebel Motorcycle Club from the States, Cooper Temple Claws, or Electric Soft Parade from England, Soundtracks of Our Lives and stuff from Scandinavia. Is it a good feeling to release a record in an environment like that?
I think it is, yeah. I think, well, you know, it's good for us because at the end of the cycle of this album, we'll find out where we actually stand. You know? Yeah. Because for a long time we were the biggest band in the world, and then in the whole of Europe. So it'd be interesting to see where we stand with all these young bands, you know. But that's not to sound old or anything. But I think it's a great time for rock and roll, you know, with the bands that you mentioned, plus the Strokes and the Hives. It's a good time for guitar music. I think we got universally ignored last time because rock and roll wasn't very fashionable.
Yeah.
A few years back, you know, when we released Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, saying that wasn't a very rock and roll album. So, but we'll see. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Exactly. I always
It's
sort
a
of...
good time to release an album in the summer anyway. You know, I don't think we've ever had an album released in the summer, ever.
Yeah.
You know, our albums usually come like September, October when it's getting dark. So it'll be nice that people will hear, you know, be able to go and buy the Hindu Times in 2 weeks, and it'll be nice and sunny and...
Run around naked listening to the Hindu Times.
Well...
You wouldn't like that?
I wouldn't like to promote nudity or anything.
Why not?
I think the clothes, well, you know, clothes are fantastic and they should be worn by everybody.
But if they're really pretty naked people, then they're allowed to.
I've yet to see one.
There's another thing...
My girlfriend, of course, who is the vision of beauty.
But she should be running around naked for everybody to see.
No, she's running around naked in a mental asylum as we speak.
No.
Yeah, she had to go to hospital.
Wow. But only for a short time, please.
Oh, she goes at the weekends.
For God's sake. There's a name that kept popping up while I was preparing for the interview, and it was Johnny Marr. And I don't know if you or Liam met him, and I want to...
I've known Johnny for over 10 years now. And he worked on some of... He worked with Liam. It's going back a long time now. A few years, well, maybe a year or two ago. On some of Liam's demos, you know, played guitar and stuff like that. And then he plays a guitar solo on one of Liam's songs and a guitar solo on one of mine, you know. He's just he's an old friend of mine, Johnny, and he's a fantastic guitarist, and it came to one of the songs on the record called Probably All in the Mind, and nobody could come up with a guitar solo. So we phoned him up, said, do you want to come down and have a go at this? And the guitar solo is absolutely amazing. And but he's probably one of the most gifted guitarists ever.
Does it work out straight away when you tell him what to do, or is it trying around?
I don't know. We never, ever tell him what to do.
Okay.
You know.
He just goes for it.
You just get him in there, give him a guitar, and then just sit back and watch.
And record.
What you know, just like watch and learn, really.
Yeah.
But top man.
Mm-hmm. I read this quote of yours that I really liked, and you were talking about the internet and that you didn't really like the idea of people knowing absolutely everything about their favourite band. Do you think it's really changed the way people relate to their favourite bands from, let's say, the days of the Smiths or something?
That was the analogy, or the comparison I was trying to draw, was that when I was 16, 17, my favourite band in the world was the Smiths. And, you know, you never knew when they were in the studio or what studio they were in, let alone there was a camera in the studio to watch them making their record. So you'd wait patiently for months and months and months and months, and then there would be a press release saying the Smiths will release an album on, you know, the 15th of March. And then you'd wait for that day, whereas now, you know, you can watch Radiohead make their next record on the internet.
Yeah.
I just think there's too much. This is my personal opinion. I suppose it's just, I'm old-fashioned in a way, but I like, to me, there should be a lot of mystery in rock and roll. You know what I mean? People should use their, because that thing there, that computer there, will ultimately destroy the imagination of mankind, because there will be, everybody will know everything about every single subject. There's too much information in the world. You know, who wants to know everything? I'd rather live inside there. You know, don't watch the screen.
But it's not only computers, it's also combining with yellow press, that everybody knows who everybody in the band is dating at the moment and stuff like that.
And there's all, I mean, you know, the internet, as far as I see it, was set up, you know, so that people in different continents could pass information to each other. And in a way, it's great, because it means there will never be, you know, atrocities in the world without it coming to, like, you know, public attention because of the internet. But saying that, you know, there's so much lies and bullshit on the internet. You know, I do interviews every day of my life where an interviewer will ask me a question and I'll say, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they'll say, well, I read it on the internet. And it's like, oh right, so it's on the internet.
Questions about you.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, all right, so if it's on the internet, it must be fucking true.
Yeah.
You know, it's just as soon as anything is posted on the internet, you know, it becomes common knowledge, and it's just, I don't know, it gets on my nerves. But the thing that gets on my nerves the most is that people who work in offices, right?
Yeah.
If somebody sat at that desk there, instead of actually getting up and speaking to that girl there, they'll send them a fucking email. I mean, how ridiculous is that? You know, it costs about £5 to send an email, right? When they could just open the door and go, hey, put the kettle on, you know, something like that, do you know what I mean? And, you know, no wonder the music business is going down the fucking drain.
I was talking to this guy who works for a...
I'm not saying go back to the days of carrier pigeon or anything like that, you know.
Yes.
But there has to be a line somewhere, surely.
Yeah. And I was talking to this guy that works for a music magazine, and he said that normally the readers' letters they get, they're all sort of reduced to one sentence now because people don't write any letters anymore. They write emails.
Yeah, they send text messages.
Yeah.
You know, where you can only have 101 letters, you know. Mm-hmm. So they abbreviate everything. In like the NME now, there used to be a letters page. Now there's emails and now there's text messages. And all the words are abbreviated to 3 letters. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. You know, this all started a long time ago when they changed Christmas to Xmas. You know, because they couldn't be asked writing the word Christ or whatever, you know. So I think that... But I'm concerned about where it's going to end. Where does it end?
My uncle, he's English, and he thinks that all the children around the evolution, years and years and generations, they'll have no legs, massive big eyes sitting in the dark, like fish that live in the sea, and a massive thumb to write SMS messages.
Well, I wouldn't like to frighten any of the children out there and say that, you know, there's going to be a fucking super race of frogs or anything like that, but, you know, you'd be hard pushed, especially in Europe anyway, you'd be hard pushed to find a room, let alone a fucking house, a room without a computer or a television in there now, you know. It's just so powerful. But I think, you know, because I do think the television is a beautiful medium, you know what I mean, and I watch television all the time, but I think that the people that run these things and the people that are in charge of the internet and the people that are in charge of, you know, transferring information to the masses, you know, they could do it so much better.
Mm-hmm. They're like the modern politicians a bit somehow. They can manipulate.
Yeah, even now you get to do gigs on the internet. You know, that gone are the days when if you couldn't buy a ticket to see your band, you know, you wait till next time, you know. Yeah. So, but now it's like, oh, they're doing a webcast. You know, and this sounds crap and there's pictures of rubbish and then someone will sit there on a tiny little fucking screen. Well, I seen Oasis live last night in Mogadishu.
What a brilliant feeling that was. Yeah.
It's wrong, isn't it?
I just also had another honour while I was waiting for you, is to see a teeny-weeny little bit of DVD from like an Oasis documentary. What's all that about?
It's about when we were on, well, it's about 10 minutes long.
Well, okay. It seemed like a second, really.
Yeah, it's when we went on tour with the Black Crowes last year, on the Brotherly Love Tour in the United States. It's just bits of backstage nonsense and bits of live footage and stuff.
It was hilarious, I must say, especially the CD player breaking all the time.
Well, being on the road with Oasis is fun, and I have to draw. I don't have to, but I will. I'll draw a comparison with. You see footage or road movies by other bands, Radiohead in particular, and R.E.M., and they're just miserable. They're sitting in back of limousines, you know, tailing to the camera about how bored they are being in a group. It's like, well, if you don't fucking enjoy it, retire, do us all a fucking favour, you know, and go and live in a fucking mansion in Oxford so we don't have to listen to your miserable fucking bleatings about how shit your life is. Yes. You know, now, when you see my band on the road, it's an absolute scream, you know. It's like, it's total escapism, you know. It's escaping from all this nonsense. Here we go on the road and we enter into our little bubble where the Beatles are still together, you know, and the Rolling Stones are still 30, you know, they're still 30 years of age, you know, and the Sex Pistols are still together, you know, and they all do a gig in our dressing room every night after our show. Yeah. You know, it's fucking fantastic, man.
Yeah, because that's what lots of bands forget as soon as they're successful.
It worries me that people will watch videos like that by Radiohead and they'll think, well, I'm not going to join a band. It just looks miserable. Yeah. So we're doing a service to rock and roll, you know, because if you're thinking of joining a group, go and buy or watch the Oasis documentary. It's a fucking laugh. It's fantastic. It's the best job in the world.
And it's real, it's no acting. You can tell.
No, it's fantastic. It's a good laugh.
We'll have a short break and then we'll be back in a few minutes. Meine Damen und Herren, Sie sehen Fast Forward mit einem wundervollen Noel Gallagher heute zu Gast. Is the album title Heathen Chemistry definite?
Yeah, yep.
Whose idea was that? Yay! The boss's idea.
It was mine, yeah. I can't remember the day I thought of it, but it just... I'd seen it somewhere, I can't remember where, but it just sounded like... It's two great words, you know, heathen and chemistry, and I'd love to get all cosmic about it and tell you what it meant, but it really is two words that just conjure up lots of personal mental images, you know, so people will get for it whatever it means to them. What it means to us is that, you know, the music on the album is the chemistry between the Heathens being the band. But that's far too pretentious for me to even begin to believe, so it just came out of one of them, so a moment of inspiration.
It wasn't referring to religious wars or something at the moment?
I'm actually obsessed with religion at the minute.
Really?
Yeah, not that I believe in it. I mean, I can't. I'm obsessed with the stupidity, and the total. I don't know. It's just a stupid ideal to believe in any form of religion. You know, when you see people out in Israel and the West Bank like strapping explosives to themselves and going blowing themselves up in restaurants in the name of God, it's fucking sick. You know, so you see this on the news every morning when you get up and you're eating your toast and stuff, and you just sit there open-mouthed, you know, at tanks in the streets of Jerusalem, where God was supposed to have been born, you know. And it's just fucking, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's fucking crazy what they're doing.
Yeah.
I read this rumour, and I know you...
Read it on the internet?
No, I think it was British Music Press, which is just as bad.
Probably worse. Go on.
But you can just beat me up if it's a lie, or put it right on television. The Oasis got friendly again with Robbie Williams and want to record a new version of All You Need Is Love.
Right. That was in the British Music Press, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well.
Are you going to sue them?
No. If we'd record, you know, a version of anything with Robbie Williams, it'd be called All You Need Is Pies.
Okay. But there's nothing like that planned.
Unless it's going to be called All You Need Is Pies.
Okay. Well, then call it that.
Well, yeah, you know, if you're watching, Rob. You know where to get me. I'm at Sony.
Okay. Another thing I would like to talk about is that through the years, Oasis did have difficult phases, sort of, for example, the relationship between you and Liam, and all the fans all over the world sort of anticipated in a strong way. And I think the yellow press might have exaggerated.
What's the yellow press? What's that?
That's like the Sun and the Mirror and stuff like that.
Why do you call them the yellow press? Why do you
Don't you call it that in England?
Oh, no, we just call them scum.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The scum press, then. They must have exaggerated lots of it.
Yellow press? Why? So, I mean,
is it German yellow press?
I think that's what Germans think the English say.
That's what they teach in German schools.
So, yeah.
The yellow press? Well, there you go. I shall start referring to them from this moment on as the yellow press, then.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Okay, the scum press might have exaggerated.
No, we'll call them the yellow press from now on.
Learning words on Fast Forward. But I think lots of people liked that imperfection also in Oasis because it made you human, and people could... I told you not to laugh.
Sorry, I can't help it. Go on. Go on. I know what you meant, though.
And people could relate much stronger to Oasis. Would you agree on that?
Well, we've never tarted anything up for the cameras or for the press or for the fans, you know. If there's one thing... You know, sometimes our music's great and sometimes people think it's not so great. And sometimes we're a great live band and sometimes we're not so great. You know, but it's always real, you know. And we've never lied to our fans. Or I've never lied to a journalist. I've never lied to anyone that's... If you ask me a question, I'll tell you the truth, you know. And so you can take my music or leave it, but, you know, grant me my honesty and my dignity and Liam's as well, you know. and you know where you stand with us. If we're in a, you know, we don't sit in a dressing room arguing with each other and then on stage, hey, you know, everything's great, you know. Yeah. If we're in a bad mood with each other, then we'll take that onto the stage with us, you know what I mean? It doesn't change, you know. So at least if there's one thing that, you know, people can respect us for, if it's not the music, then it could be the fact that we're probably the most honest band since the Sex Pistols. You know, we just tell it like it is. And a lot of people don't like that, you know what I mean? But fuck them.
Yeah. I think that journalists, if you tell the truth, if you say something they don't want to hear, then they write something nasty because they're not used to people telling the truth.
Well, no, because, you know, I mean, a band like Oasis or the Sex Pistols comes along once every 20 years, and that's why the yellow press are still fascinated with me and Liam. Because Liam will go out and get drunk, and if somebody, you know, if somebody sticks a camera that far in his face, you know, he'll smack him in the mouth, you know what I mean? So, you know, and if people come out of my house and ask me what I think of the Queen Mother, then I'll tell them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're not Cliff Richard and a fucking Robbie Williams, you know? Yeah. Whereas, like, you know, we will pander to the press and their opinion, you know, and their image of us, you know what I mean? Where everything's nicey, nice, you know. And if people don't like that, then that's their tough shit, you know? We never asked for a record deal. I don't ask you to come and interview me. You know, you asked to come and interview me, so...
we begged you.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know...
This is the final question already, and this is a dream come true.
There must be one more. I'm enjoying
Well, okay, I'll ask you two more then. This is a dream come true because this is a lyric question. I don't know if you like answering lyric questions.
Go on.
Itching in the kitchen makes me go absolutely mad. That sentence.
Why?
Because I just cannot think of what it could mean.
My dog's been itching in the kitchen. Well, you know, if anybody owns animals, especially the canine, you know, it's quite self-explanatory, really. If you have a dog, and you know, and anyway, itching rhymes with kitchen. You know, fucking what can I say? I was very drunk. No.
You mean so the dog is itching itself in the kitchen?
Well, that's what it says. And my dog's been itching.
See, I didn't understand the dog part.
Well, the way that I used to write, and the way that I write sometimes, is that I don't write stories. I just write lines. If the previous line is very good, then the line that comes after it has to rhyme with it, right? Yeah. It's almost like, it's just like school children's rhyming. It's just like rapping, you know. So, itching fucking rhymes with kitchen. Yeah. You know, there you go. What can I say?
Lots of people in Germany...
If anybody else can think of another word that rhymes with kitchen, then insert that in.
I can't.
I can't either, so this is why it was... Because I like the line, and my dog's been itching. Itching in the kitchen.
This is brilliant.
Well, actually, the more you say it, the more it makes sense, I think.
And the second lyric question that drives me mad, because I thought itching in the kitchen has something to do with drugs, hard drug abuse in the kitchen, but maybe the next lyric.
Well, you see, I just write stream of conscience. I just write, and then I work out what it means later. So if to you, it means hard drugs, and, yeah, because, like, heroin abusers do start to scratch themselves, don't they? Yeah. But if that's what it means to you, then fine, then my job is done as a lyricist, you know what I mean? I evoke images in your brain.
Shall I tell you another interpretation of another lyric sentence? Walking slowly down the hall faster than a cannonball, a colleague of mine thinks it means being on uppers and downers at the same time.
Fantastic, that's because it has no resemblance. That's brilliant, you know. I like the fact that people actually seem to think that every single thing I write is a drug reference. Slowly walking down the hall faster than a cannonball. Shall I tell you what that actually means?
Please do.
Right, there was a children's television programme called Trumpton, back in when I was growing up. And there used to be a scene every episode where they were puppets, right? And a train used to pull up at this stately home and pick up the fucking whoever it was, the lord of the manor. And he used to walk down this hall really slowly. And I just assumed that the train's name was Cannonball. But actually, the Cannonball was the train in another children's television programme.
You got it mixed up, but it fit perfectly. Yeah,
but I think it's about uppers and downers. It's amazing. Well done.
Yes. What a fucking genius.
Yeah. I am, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much.
It's a pleasure.